This was supposed to be a nursing home where the elderly could enjoy their golden years, yet what the elderly ate was leftover food. It had no nutrition at all. On the contrary, the free meals for the caregivers were abundant with fish and meat. Only then did the female CEO, who had disguised herself as a caregiver for an unannounced inspection, finally realize that the nursing home she had personally founded for her hometown had actually become a tool for these parasites to embezzle money. So she immediately sent a message to her assistant, telling him to bring people for a surprise inspection of the nursing home, but she never expected that shortly after, the head caregiver of the nursing home received word that an inspection team was coming. He then systematically arranged for someone to throw away the leftover food and ordered that the elderly be cleaned up. However, what the female CEO did not anticipate was that their idea of cleaning up was actually spraying the elderly directly with a water hose as if bathing livestock. The female CEO tried to stop them but was roughly pushed to the ground. To prevent her, the new caregiver, from leaking the truth, the head caregiver simply locked her and the elderly in the basement, and this was where the elderly usually lived. At the same time, the assistant arrived with the inspection team, but the director was putting on a show at the door with a group of elderly people. Not seeing the female CEO, the assistant calmly began inspecting the nursing home. In the end, no abnormalities were found. Little did they know that at that moment, an elderly person in the basement suddenly collapsed and started convulsing. The female CEO quickly called for caregivers to help treat the person, but no one paid attention to her. The other elderly people also said that the caregivers didn't care whether they lived or died. The woman could only look out through the ventilation hole in the basement. She happened to see the assistant coming for an inspection and shouted loudly, but the assistant didn't hear her voice. Instead, her shouting attracted the caregivers, who directly pushed her violently to the ground. The head caregiver even reprimanded her, saying that this inspection was related to a 5 million yuan investment. If she ruined the inspection, she couldn't afford to compensate for it. Seeing that the elderly person's condition was critical, the woman had no choice but to reveal her identity as the investor and ordered the head caregiver to send the elderly person to the hospital immediately. But the head caregiver didn't believe her at all. Thinking she was looking for a chance to go out and report them, she immediately told the caregivers to beat her up. The elderly people couldn't bear to watch any longer and, despite the danger, hugged the caregiver's legs, buying the female CEO a chance to escape. But as soon as she ran to the door and shouted, the chasing head caregiver covered her mouth. Fortunately, the assistant, who was conducting the inspection, still heard the shout and immediately rushed towards the sound. At the same time, the female CEO and the elderly people were beaten again, but luckily, there were many elderly people and the caregivers were overwhelmed. An elderly lady seized the opportunity to run out and just happened to meet the arriving assistant.